Joining me now, Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee. Congresswoman, can you trust the Republicans as you fight to improve the economy?
Well, we're going to focus on what we know is the #1 priority on Americans' minds right now, and that is creating jobs and continuing to get this economy turned around. And if we have to drag the Republicans with us, then we'll do that. But, it's been a whole lot of months, 8 months that they've controlled the House with no jobs bills coming to the floor. Hopefully now, with this compromise on the debt ceiling behind us, with the opportunity with the commission to sit down and focus on longer-term deficit reduction that will have some balance and ask some sacrifice for our most fortunate, in addition to the middle class, that we're going to be able to get everyone on the same page, that it's jobs. I agree with you, Reverend, that the time for jawboning is long past.
9.2% unemployment, higher in many other communities. I mean, I sometimes get the feeling like a lot of people are in some beltway echo chamber. Do they understand that people are hurting out there, can't put food on their tables, literally? And the conversation is something else. Can we now start getting the conversation back to where it deals with the needs of the people, millions of people of all kinds of communities in this country?
Absolutely. President Obama is going to be continuing to focus. He's brought us so far. We've really begun to turn the economy around. We have a long way to go. Obviously, we want the pace of recovery to quicken, but we're still, we're creating jobs each month in the private sector. We need to go now to the point where we can focus on tax cuts for the middle class, make sure that those get extended, not wait an eternity to sit out whether that will happen. We need to focus on infrastructure investment, which there's bipartisan support for in the Congress, and hopefully we can get those two priorities. Focusing on tax cuts that are going to be for middle-class Americans who are going to invest that windfall back into the economy and make sure that the literally thousands of construction workers that have lost their jobs in this downturn have an opportunity to get put back to work by our making investments in infrastructure that we can work with the private sector on in a balanced and public-private partnership.
I mean, because this is what has really drove me crazy. I mean, it's almost like working people, working class people, poor people, chronically unemployed people don't matter. I mean, the fact that
they matter to Democrats.
We've got to make it matter to everybody. We've got to change this conversation. Another thing that bothers me, and let me ask you this frankly, you're the chair of the DNC. What about these voter suppression schemes? I'm very concerned that we are all over the country. Look at this map. You're seeing different states now trying to change what is required to vote. Voter ID, lessening the time for early voting in some states. Ending same-day registration. It seems like a polished, more sophisticated way of trying to stop certain elements of our society or the population to being able to vote easily. That's very undemocratic to me.
It's disturbing. Yeah, absolutely. It's disturbing, and I think it's not accidental that those laws are being pushed through in states where there are that controlled by Republican governors and Republican legislators. They're passing laws conveniently that seem to only block access to the kind of voting that or registration or access to the polls for groups of people who support Democrats. Early voting, much higher percentage of voters who are Democrats go to the polls for early voting. Putting roadblocks in the way so that it makes it harder for people to register. All with the gauzy accusation that voter fraud is somehow a problem, when over and over again it has been proven that you're more likely to get hit by lightning than you are to be a victim of voter fraud.
Well, but what is the DNC? How are you going to counter this? What is the DNC plan to protect people having access to their right to vote and access to their voting booth?
At the DNC and the Democratic Party, we are very focused on election protection and voter protection and making sure that both on the days of on election day and early voting days that we ensure that people aren't systematically blocked from polls who are eligible to vote. But we're also making sure that leading up to that, these laws are challenged because many of them, we believe, are not constitutional or have not been properly vetted, and separately, which is not partisan, the Department of Justice is reviewing a number of the laws that have been passed by Republican legislatures and signed by Republican governors.
Well,
so we expect there'll be a two-front battle here, but we're all about in the Democratic Party expanding access to the ballot because we want to maximize turnout. We know that we get the best representatives and the best results when you maximize voter participation. Unfortunately, the Republicans don't seem to share that view.